Okay, I'm going to start with another CC playthrough, and this one is Milhaven Golf Club. Now, I think this is another designer whose work I'm as yet unfamiliar with, which, let's have a look. So Milhaven Golf Club, Loco on the Soco. Maybe I've seen some of yours. Oh, you did White Run, I remember from World Cup. So no, it's someone whose work I'm relatively unfamiliar with. I don't think I've played any other courses by them. And I think, looking at the picture, must be Boreal. So we're going to have a little playthrough of this, going off gold tees and pin 2. So as with all of these things, these playthroughs, these are my thoughts as I go through. I haven't seen the course before. It will be one of a couple of playthroughs at least I do at the start. And some of the comments I make you'll agree with, some and take them on board, some of them you might disagree with because you were aiming for something else. It tends to go a little bit slowly for the first 3 or 4 holes. After that I end up saying kind of seeing the same things. And we'll speed up. Okay, so we've done a lot of planting. Okay, so first off, okay, so we got some sort of club seating. I think with the tournament stuff and these objects, I feel like you've got to go all the way. Either you've got them everywhere or you don't have them at all. But we'll probably come to that later. Anyway, waterside planting is nice. I'd prefer it, I think, if you'd actually left some of the areas a bit bare. As it is, it's kind of very heavily planted just around the waterline here, but nowhere else up here. It looks a little artificial in the way that in nature you'd probably have some of it coming up here, some of it dipping down. I think areas of barrenness would be really beneficial here. It's also worth being aware that how these global plants show up, so you have to hide them a little bit more because they look really bright. Same with the flowers. I think the flowers are a little big, and you'd be better served actually shrinking them down and going with more of them, clumping them. I think if you look at some of Reeb Doog's courses, he does that really nicely. But yeah, I mean, the rest of the planting, it's fine. I just think it's a bit much in a very concentrated area. Now I saw these little bits here. I don't understand what the stones are doing. Are they part of a path? Because if so, surely they're closer together. I don't follow that. In terms of the golf hole itself, I don't love these trees cut, so I don't think you need these, and I think actually the hole would be miles better off without them. Because if I'm hitting down here, I'm then having to hit a bit of a hook, whereas really I'd want you to be bringing the fairway closer to the water, because if I'm taking on this side and risking the water, that's the braver, bolder play, rather than just bailing out to the middle. I don't know, I don't think you need the trees there. Fairway wise, I get why you're doing this for the bunker, but I don't understand why we're pinching the fairway at 2-wood distance, because driver's safe, but if I want to lay back a little bit more, it's really dangerous. And in all honesty, I'm never laying back here. I think one of the things I'd like to see you try to do is channel the fairway down a bit more at driver, or like however wide you want it to be driver, let's make it bigger at 2-wood distance, unless you're maybe baiting people into hitting a pitch shot rather than a full shot. But we can bring the fairway around here, we can move this bunker a bit further over, and actually that would look better if your whole fairway was, let's just imagine now, if your whole fairway is one straight line coming down here and coming up here, that's leading your eye far more to the hole than this little in and out, which frankly just looks a little bit messy. I think we could do smoother lines. I don't have a problem with the fairway going in and out, but why is it doing it? There's no reason. I think straight lines generally do look like, not dead straight, but smoother curves will look a lot better for you and make a lot more sense. Or the alternative is make this your driver landing zone, where a fast is to get you there and then kill the trees and then a fast allows you access at the green in 2 shots. These bushes are a little out of place. They're just, again, I think clump them. There's just, I mean, they're there, but again, I think you'd see 4 or 5 of them in really close proximity in one bigger area, and then nothing. You wouldn't see just one dotted there, one there, one there, one there, one there. I get what you're doing in terms of combining the 2 or 3 plants. It's not. I don't love it, but I like it. Yeah. Ooh. Well, game struggled there. I'm gonna have to turn my graphics down. And you just restarted it, so it should be fine. Let's pop them down a little bit anyway. Oh, we're on high. We should be fine. That was just a bit weird. Okay, so what reason are you giving to me? So this is as a second shot. I'm okay with this generally. I don't think this bunker is doing much for you. I would rather see you have gotten rid of the bunker here, moved the green over down here and put the bunker on this side to challenge a bit of a bailout away from the water and bring the water more into play. It's your best hazard that you've got. In terms of the green itself, you can see how this tier is, like, you've used, I don't know what brush you've used, but it feels like one of the really flat ones or sharp ones at the edge, and we've got this tier that is just dead this way, and then like that feels really unnatural. It also is a massive tier, so I think if we're ending up down here, we're running the risk of, can we actually get the ball up? I think you can soften this generally. If we're going beyond 3 grid lines of red, then we're in sketchy territory. The fact that we're on about 7, 6 if you're going that way, 7 or 8 if you're going that way, I think we've got a bit much. Okay, frame rate is back. Let's go try that slope out. Also, bearing in mind we're CC, I mean, do we want to be... Yeah, this is too severe. I get that it's a par 5, but we can achieve the same effect with less slope. Oh, we're very fast. I have to tidy up my tempo a little bit. I mean, the view looking back down is lovely. And hopefully we're stopping just about. Let's see if we can actually tidy up for a par. This has been a scrappy first hole from me. It should be in. Oh no, it's turned massively at the end. Well, deserved that. Played very few good shots after the second. After the first even. I like the way that we saw the second hole off the first. Again, I mean, I think it's the same things. The tier is too severe. The bunker is somewhere where we don't really need it. And looking at the other green slopes, I would always rather see, say, like a slope like this, for example. Either I think this is right on the edge of the green and it funnels you down off, so this part of the green is up and it's just tipping you off. Because if we're what you've done with this is basically reduced your green size to about here, because you can't pin any of this. So why is it green? I think you'll have much better effect if either you move the green to up here, or if you flatten, I think my preference would be to flatten this out so that a ball that rolls down this slope can funnel onto and remain on the flat part down here. The slope is too much here, really, particularly for a CC course. And again, we're over the kind of, okay, we're 4 or 5 boxes maybe of red. I think it's a bit too much. But it's a lovely look. You planted it really nicely. Big fan of how we can see the other holes coming in the distance. The bunker does look good. I don't think it's offering anything really strategically, but I like... Yeah, I don't know. I think you'd probably get a better effect with maybe one smaller bunker, or just bringing the water more in, or just having the green lower and on the water. I don't know. I'm not sold on whether you needed that bunker. I'm slowly getting more towards normal tempo. I like what you've done with the little T sign. That's cool. Just sinking it down is a nice look. And there's a lot of detail work in here, which I really appreciate. I think the rocks and the planting scheme that you've got work nicely. I don't tend to love the orange flowers. I think the yellows. I think they're very in your face. I think they work here, but again, I'd like to see something a little more subtle. I prefer them when they're over on the right and in shadow, and they're a bit more muted. Okay, so short par 4. I think with this fairway you're starting it a bit early, which is partly why you're putting in the bunkers where they don't really matter. I'd try to start your fairway around where this point is, so 180 is usually a good amount of space, a good place to start a fairway. You can bring it back a bit more if you want a more empty look. If you're finding you've got an empty look and you don't know what to fill it with, bring it back a bit further. Probably to about here can be advised, but I don't think that's what we're going for. We've got a lot of planting. That said, I do like the way this bunker frames it, so maybe I'm okay. No, I think I'm okay with this. So we hit driver up here. Do we have any? We're kind of hitting a bit more at the slope if we do that, but I don't think that's too much of an issue. We can have a pitch shot in. What's the land like? I think sculpting could be cleaner on the edges of these fairways, so you can flatten this into here a bit more here. Same again here, you can see it's just, there's a tiny bit of that auto flatten remaining. Bunker sculpting is pretty good. I like this hole. Oh, well, what were we saying about tempo? Can I go back to a fairway anywhere over here? We can go to a flat stance there. Why don't we do that? Okay, I'm hoping that might feed down. That is about as good as we can do, I think, from where we were. See if we can hole apart and then find some tempo. I don't know what's happening here. That's all down to the tee shot there. Yeah, again, those single bushes are really just grabbing my eyes. I think where you've done your rest of the planting here and here and here and all of these bits, they're really well. It makes sense. It's clumped well together. Honestly, I know you'll have heard people say plant around the base of your trees. I think this looks pines. You can actually tend to not have stuff growing around them, so I'd have lost all of this because again it just doesn't really look that natural. We're hiding this bunker a bit. I'd have dropped the hill and show us the bunker a little more. And yeah, same thing with the fairway edges. I don't think we need to be winding in and around. I get that there's little mounds here, but what we would do or see in real life is people kind of dropping those mounds down and having a smoother fairway around it. unless it's links where you can get away with a bit more. We've missed a little bit of heavy rough there, but that's not major. And yeah, I think this bunker is really a casualty of where it's sitting, because you want to be bumping this side up more and this side down. Because you haven't done the big moves around it, it's kind of falling in on itself, whereas these two have a better site, because as you can see the land is higher and then low at the front, and therefore you'd have had a lot easier job with them. Well, that felt slow, so maybe that's the way to go. I like the sloping in front of the green. I really wish this sort of slope came into the green a little bit more. Let's have this bunker and the whole green feeding left to right, and let's make the green itself make sense with this. It kind of drops off here, but I guess I think you've done a decent job of making this tier come into the green here. I don't know, the front little sunken portion doesn't really make sense how we're going down, flat, up again when we've got the bunker. That's nitpicky, but I think it would make it a better whole. Still fasts. I need to find some tempo. Yeah, the single plants at the base of trees, just again, the word I'd come back to is a bit artificial. Again though, I mean, looking at the range of holes we've had so far, it's been good. Had par 5, par 3, short 4, longer 4. Nice. That's a dreadful putt. I'm now feeling that honestly, I think this would look a lot better if you ditched all of the orange and yellow flowers pretty much entirely. They're really big and dragging your eye, whereas I prefer this planting over here on the left back there. I'll highlight it again in a second. Yeah, particularly these are like, I want to be looking at the whole and just having little spots of colour, but because they're so big and so bright, it's just distracting. Whereas I think you've done a great job with the land movement. I really like the tree line. It has a really natural vibe to it. 531 yards. Okay, this is probably as long as we can get in a CC contest. So yeah, if we compare this, which all of it looks great apart from the flowers, for me, and then this, which is just muted, like that looks like it belongs. Even the little flowers here, I'd rather they weren't there, because this is perfect. This is what I want to see. Okay, now I'm really interested to see how this one plays, because if we're thinking about pro clubs as well, so pro clubs are 10 yards short of where I'll be, which means they cannot hit up to the high side of this here, so they're really having to contend with this bunker. And I'm all for masters having an advantage. So they're hitting to about there, and it's a really dicey tee shot for pro club users. Well, we got our fast again. No, I mean, maybe they'd be okay. I think they'd be okay. I think it's a little pinched given how long the approach is. I think with a CC course, you've got to be forgiving with pretty much everything that's requiring a lot of distance. I feel like we're going to have some same things about the tiers. If we can try to make it a little less straight lines, that would be better. It would fit more with the rest of the course. Oh, the one time we really wanted a fast. feel like this hole would have been either one of them. Okay, we've got some steps into the bunker, which I don't think it needs. I don't think it's any deeper than the others. I don't know, I think you've kind of done everything on difficulty with this hole. We've got a pretty sloping green. Okay, not as severe as previous ones, but it's still not a pushover. We've got a really long tee shot to for pro clubs particularly. I don't know, I think you want to be a bit more forgiving somewhere on a 530 yard hole in CC. If you take the first two holes out, not doing too badly. Holes 1 and 3. Okay, definitely need to make a shot up here. This bit of land needs flattening out. Just smoother, it would look better. Planting again, great. I still feel the same thing with the bushes. They're out of place. This in the backdrop is lovely. Again, I would like to see a bit more sparse with the waterside planting. Let's have it as a highlight rather than just everywhere. I think that's probably my take on all of the planting, really. It's nice, I'd just like to see it as an accent rather than it's so in your face. Alright, 8 miles downwind, downhill as well. For all that I've just said about the curves in the fairway, this one works really nicely because it's making me think about whether I really want to go for it or not. I'd probably have widened this a touch, but it's a par 5, so, and it's very reachable. I think I'm okay with it. I think you're going to have most people taking this on. Finally! Now I'm hoping that I've got this right, but the camber is potentially tricky. Yeah, we've got some weirdness on the green again, and I think this has come pretty much from the bunker sculpting. Just this little pool down here, the fact that it's flowing in here and down here and then out, doesn't really make much sense. And I think it's come because you've raised the bunker up afterwards. We definitely don't need steps in this bunker. And there's just some stuff that is kind of for the sake of stuff. We don't need it. Again, we've seen these before and I don't really understand why they're there. The big front bunker again, I think I'd rather if you split it into a couple of different ones. Would break everything up more visually. It would allow you to have an apron. I think an apron on this hole would be great because with a pin, like, I don't mind tucked pins on par 5s. I think it's kind of okay. But I've not got any way of reaching this which isn't from either hitting at this angle. Basically, I might as well go for this because if I'm long, I'm then chipping back towards it, and whereas if I'm laying up here, I'm not generating a better angle. I'd love to see you can take the fairway round here. Let's have one bunker here, one bunker short here, bring the fairway in this side, or even up the middle, and then have a bunker here and a bunker here, and kind of allow access to front pins via here. I think the apron would have really helped. I get that we've got a bit of a backstop, but with this wind and this club, it's not going to be making much difference. I mean, we'll try it, but I don't think it's going to change anything. And in fact, we've missed it. That'll do. Yeah, I like the whole concept. I think you could have tidied it up around the green a little bit and given more options rather than just either you hit the green or you don't. still, it's nice to have a birdie on the card. Really like the setting for this hole. Same comment about the giant tier. I think this bottom tier needed raising up about a foot. Planting and framing on this hole is lovely. I still feel the same things about the flowers, but where you've planted and framed is really nice. It's your best looking hole so far. Let's see if we can play into that backstop a little. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I really like that there's a tier there, and I really like that there is a backstop. The height it's at just makes it very all or nothing, in that you're either over it and you've got no putt back down to the bottom, or if you're trying to, whereas I think where slopes like that are great, it's where it can be used either as a hazard or a help. So if it was a foot less, then you're suddenly thinking as to, with that one I can kind of hit into it as much as I want. I know I'm coming back for that pin, or if I'm going above it I've got to clear it. Whereas if it's a foot less, then maybe I'm thinking, well, will this shot stop? Will it roll over the top and then it's a bit more of a hazard? Or if I'm trying to hit to a pin on the top, there's a potential of leaving it just down but still have like a putt that doesn't take just guesswork as to how hard I hit it. Okay. I think here I'd do either tree line or bunkers, or actually probably just cut off this half of the bunker. And I like the tree line, so I'd do that. I think I'd cut the bunker off and just have it as an extension almost to the tree line. Bunker shapes, I feel at this, they're kind of, they're there. They're not, I don't think we've really defined a style that we wanted with the shapes. Again, I like the way this hole sets up. I think it's pretty forgiving off the tee. I wonder to what extent, so getting to this pin, I think out here was always the play, because you've got a backstop, you're not taking on that. Is there any pin for which I'd want to be here? Just trying to look at the green. If there's a pin there, I'd still want to be where I am now. Yeah, I'd have loved to see you engineer the green so that there's a pin where this is your ideal angle and you're laying up, and I think that would make this hole a lot better. I don't know, but just looking at these slopes, I can't see how you could do that. Now, in terms of how you do that, I think you'd have a slope here as a runoff, and you'd have one pin behind the slope. So therefore, if you're playing it here, you've got a pitch shot just over this kind of runoff short right. But where you've put all these runoffs and backstops, it's all rewarding this side, which is fine. I think it was something worth considering. Huh. Never get perfect. Not on pitch shots. Okay, time to hold something. Okay, round about here. I mean, once you hit, well, I feel like I've nitpicked quite a lot. Once you hit the right tier on the greens, I think the slopes are perfect. This is exactly the sort of putt I'd want on CC. Oh, that's just leapt left. Not a good putt. Yeah, I think your gentle slopes are really, really good. It's just the more severe ones I'd be toning down. So all tees from the same point is interesting. I feel like this could have all been sloped down. If you're going to go the steps route, why are we? This is the ultimate nitpick, and I really don't care about this. But if you are going to go the steps route, you'd want to be going all the way, surely. I think really what you needed to do was have more tee boxes, fan them out a bit this way, maybe. Definitely this part needs flattening out, and the same down here. We've just... What was the previous green height at compared to here? I'm trying to work out if we've gone uphill. Yeah, to be honest, I'd probably just have dropped this entire hill by about 20 feet. I think you'd have a better hole. Because it's just this valley is very artificial. We've just raised this land up. Rather than, if we're down here, you've still got a really good look. Like, the elevation doesn't add that much to the hole. Yeah, and we come back to that. So, this is where we've got, okay, car as a prize and grandstand. I get that, but it doesn't fit with the rest of the course. We haven't had grandstands anywhere else. It's a nice idea. I think it was save it for another course. I like the bunker on the left more than some of the ones we've had previously. I think this one's got more of a style. You can see this. Let's point out here. So same thing with the tier. It's just diagonal and dead. Like, it's really harsh. So I think you've raised this up by using, I'm assuming, the rectangular brush and just flattening with that. Flattened up and then put a tier on the end. I think this slope at the back, you can see how the green slope is sitting and it's like really funneling down and then flat. I'd like to use the fuzzy brush a little bit more as well, just to bleed the red slopes in to the green, so that you've got more of this yellow and more of a smooth transition, not like dead down and then dead flat, which is what we've got here. It's like really sharply down and then flat, and that's catching your eye a little bit as well, I'd say. So, right. I mean, you can really see it here. We've gone very steep and then dead flat. I think here. Yeah, it was always about whether it moved at the start. It's just a bad putting stroke again. Wouldn't believe, based on this evidence, my putting's normally pretty good. Still, we're not playing for a score. Okay, we've got another long par 4. Oh, I like the city in the background. That's nice. And that breaks it up. So we've really opened up here compared to the... which normally I would be saying this kind of jars, that we are suddenly like, oh, here's a town, but I think it works. I can't put my finger on why it works, but I like the visual change of suddenly we've got a town on our right. This is a good hazard, so I'm wondering whether I can carry it. I think the fairway's a little windy, so we're in and out and in and out and in and out, and like you carry this one and then run through to this one, or here or here. I think you can do the options a bit more subtly. So rather than having, I'd probably lose this bunker and then have the fairway come down here and draw that one straight line would make it a lot, or that one gentle curve, that would make it a lot neater, but then angle the green so that it's kind of high right to low left coming that way, and that way it accepts a shot from this side better, so you're still trying to carry this bunker because there's a subtler punishment. Oh, pushed it. Yeah, again, I mean, this green may as well just not be here. If it's green or fairway, we're running off this. So, and I don't know, false fronts are tough because it's really just a feel thing of when you realise it's like, why is it there, why is it not? With this, like, all of this runs off and down here. So why is it green? I think this would be better with a slightly smaller green and it would make more sense. Let's just try and get up. As we're about to find out. Again, we're on a 500 yard par 4. I don't think we need to be that severe with the slopes. I would at this stage, I'd be interested to know if you count up, go back through the course, have we had a tier on every hole? It feels like we've had a couple at least on every single hole. I think you can do more by looking at your greens and working out different ways of looking at them. Can we have half tiers where it's like on one side of it it's green, on the other side it's red, or bits where the slopes are more gradual, or you've got little bowls on greens. Yeah, we've got another one here. Another 2 here. Because the thing with tiers is they're good occasionally for just forcing you to hit to a number, but it can just start feeling like target golf when every single hole is, or like even not even every single, but a number of holes are just hit to this number, or you're rolling back. Just lowered loft a touch to make sure we didn't run out. The sculpting on this fairway isn't your best. You've done this better. I assume it's for sightline purposes. And if this was smoothed out, or it's one gentle gradient left to right would be good, or raise up this bit. I like the hole. I like the fact that we've got a split fairway. I couldn't really see the advantage to going around here. I do get a bit of a better angle in. I get to use that tier as more of a backstop from this side. Take the bunker out of play. Oh, I thought that slope would have far more of effect than it did. Okay, well now we're in just absolute death. Yeah. It's always hard to know how those are going to come out. Again, for quite a long hole, this is a really tough pin. For the difficulty of this contest we're aiming for. You have to look, I mean, yeah. You can see how the ball's reacting to it, and actually this pin's a little bit illegal here. Honestly, on a hole of this length, I would have said even before looking at this that you don't need to tuck this pin right here in order to have the same effect. Move it over a bit. But let's just have a look at how high this tier is. So we're at 0 there. Yeah, we're going up a good 2 feet or so. Maybe more? I don't know. Yeah, as I said at the start, I'll kind of come back to the same points again and again. I think more of the flattening here would be good. Undulations are tough, because if you want the undulating fairways, which actually you've done pretty nicely, then you want to have some, but you don't want them to look messy, and yeah. Okay, this green's funky. I feel like we've played a lot of long holes. Let's have a look at the scorecard. 4,000 yards on the back 9. Okay. So this is really a course of 2 halves. For what it's worth, the longest back 9 in the major contest, I get this past 37, longest back 9 in the major contest was 4,000 yards. And that was aiming for like, PGA. We're potentially having people with pro clubs playing this. So I feel this is too long. And it's really showing in that I keep thinking every hole is about that sort of distance. And I get the With this one though, I do like that you've given me a wider tee shot, and now that I'm looking at it, this feels like a very wide fairway compared to some of the ones we've had before. I'd like to, but I guess all the difficulty with this one's on the green, so no, I'm okay with that. I do appreciate that we haven't used a tier here, but we have still made it a bit perfect shot or bust. Yeah, I think for CC we want to be seeing a little more forgiveness than this on the greens. Well, we've got the swing we wanted. Dreadful putt again. Okay, we do have a short four. Lovely. I assume it's potentially drivable. Yeah, again, I think I keep coming back to visually, you've done a lot of good stuff on this course. These bunker shapes are just, they're there. I don't know, I'd look at your bunker shapes because they're not adding anything, they're just kind of placeholders. And they're all, we don't really have a defined style. Are we, I don't know, are we going rugged edges? Are we doing smooth, clean curves? Are we doing straight lines? Like this one. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Oh, I like that we've got a spine here, because that's something new. We haven't seen that. I like that we've got a little bowl here. I would have preferred it, I think, if you'd raised this bit up and not had this run off. We don't. I get that it's a short four, but I don't think we need that. So this is, yeah, this is drivable. Probably don't need to loft it, but let's make sure. Oh, that's not a good shot. Still, bunker below the hole is okay. A little backstop behind us. And we hit an awful flop shot. And never came back. That feels like a must birdie, particularly on this back nine. I like this hole. I think it was well timed to break it up. We'd just been getting a longer string of fours. Yeah, there's a few things I'd tweak, but I felt there was a good incentive whether to go for it or to lay back. It wasn't overly punitive, so I could miss the green on the drive and still... Oh, where are we going? I think we can clean up the waypoint for that flyover. So we've got another par 5 without an apron. A huge backstop. And yeah, 90-degree dogleg. Not a massive fan of 90-degree doglegs because they're just, especially look at what we have to do here. If we lay up, we're going to have to hit a massive hook anyway. I feel like I get what you're trying to do with this. I don't think it allows for, again, forgiveness would be my word. Okay, I'm pleased that you've blocked off the other fairway, that's good. Well, thank God we've hit that tee shot, or we were really struggling. Okay, so here's where we really need an apron, because there's no going for this whatsoever, which means that all I'm really doing is hitting it down this fairway as far as I can, which isn't the most thrilling shot. Additionally, that little fairway's blind, which is a bit awkward. I think you've moved this up so that you can see the green, but I'd want this fairway in view. Maybe we can have a more gradual climb up to the fairway, to the green from the fairway, which also means those two bunkers are blind, which, yeah, we've got scout cam so we can see them, but you want to have your hazards in view. I don't know, I think the idea for this hole is a good one, the execution is a little off. And then we've got all of these pins are going to play the same because you've only got the one slope. And ironically here, where we're hitting a little pitch shot in, this one could use a little tear somewhere. It would fit much better on here than it has on some of the other holes. Oh, hold your line. Not got a feel for these greens at all. That's not on you, that's on me. Yeah, I think that one... With a 3-shot par 5, the key really is to give options for your second shot and make the third shot really interesting and tight. I think the third shot was just kind of pitched to a green with a backstop, and the second shot was you have to take your medicine and just hit up the fairway. I mean, maybe I could have taken the corner on more on the tee shot, and that maybe gave me a shot at going for the green. But even up 30 feet, I'm not sure I'm really going for it all that often. And then we also need to think about players with pro clubs. Okay, so we've got a longer hole. Again, pro club users are going around the long way because they're not reaching this, I don't think. I mean, maybe, but it's a push and only downwind. If they're into wind, they're playing way back here, and then they're blocked out by all sorts of trees. Downwind, that goes quite a long way actually. I don't know. I think this course is bringing enough questions into my mind with pro clubs that it's going to be an issue. I like this green. This false front works really nicely. It's small enough and it makes sense with the context of the hole. I'm hitting a wedge in. Now, I mean, if I was way further back, maybe less so. But the one we had on the previous hole, I was hitting something like 200 in. I don't love this one anywhere near as much. Again, I don't think you need it. Oh, that slow might help us out. We pushed one now. Ah. Yeah, we're back to this part of the green feels perfect in terms of difficulty. The slopes are gentle, but there's enough to think about. I think that's about right for where we want to be. Just the greens have missed the mark a bit too often for me. Heavy rough, the weaving in and out, I would avoid. Just have one pure line, I think, and it will look better. I think we're forcing a layup here. One send 7 up, so don't have a huge amount of comments on this hole. I think the green's in a nice enough spot. Green's now gone really big compared to the previous one, but I guess that reflects the length of the hole. I don't know, this green maybe feels like it's had a case of we've added on this portion just to house one pin, whereas if it had just been up to here, I think it probably makes more sense. Again, the bunkers are kind of there. They're just the shapes. They're just they don't really do anything in terms of visuals. That's a lovely, really bad chip. So we can actually hole apart for a change. Way. This planting around the base of trees works really nicely. Would have loved to have seen a bit more of that. Okay. Long par 3, 17th. Have we got a front shelf that... Okay, we've got some interesting slopes on this green. Let's just hit and find out. I like the look of the bunker in front of this green. Those two, those work quite nicely together. I mean, I just think if you'd gain so much by playing the shapes, and let's have this bunker at the back, have some rises and falls, little fingers coming in and out, or I don't know, a bit more. The layering here to break those two up works nicely. We could have planting round here. Down here would frame it nicely. This planting's good. I'd like to see maybe something blocking this part of the screen. I think planting is 90% of the way there. But I'd be looking at creating more of an environment, I think, rather than those... Yeah, or just making things look a bit more natural. This one's just try not to 3-putt for me. Yeah, didn't really have any conviction with that one. Oh, my nerves are shot on these greens. Good thing this isn't a tour around this week. I would be struggling. Yeah. Okay, an 18, par 5. Dead into the sun is tough because it, as you'll notice, it's a bit blinding and makes you struggle to see where you're actually going. We're fine on the flyover, but I think when we look back at the tee we'll find that tricky. I'd like to see you do a bit more with the undergrowth down here. The bushes are, we probably want to be sinking them. For how well you've done that pretty much everywhere else. Your planting generally under the trees in the clumps has been great, and then it's suddenly just not there on the hole where you want it the most. Same over here. I don't know whether we run out of meter, run out of time. Yeah, that bush, these bushes just need to go. I think you've got such a nice sight line. Use that. Let's see the land. Let's see the movement. Let's not just see 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of really big, awkward-looking bushes. You try. Yeah, this sort of bunker layering has worked pretty well for you actually. I like that. I really like this look. I like the tree line down the left hand side. The solitary tree is good there. Maybe would have lost that and then just had the land slope down here, lose the bushes, and I think you've got a much better look. But I don't mind it. Clump of trees to the right is nice. Again, smoothing out this would do you some help. And should be able to hit a runway. Lovely. So second shot, we've got this giant waist-like bunker, and we haven't really seen any of these before, and it's really narrow here, probably because the bridge is that wide. I don't know, I think with a waist bunker you either go all in or just don't do it, break it up. It's not really serving a purpose here, or, I mean kind of is here to split the fairway, but we're splitting the fairway somewhere we don't, I wouldn't say we need to. And we're finishing on a mother of all tears. Not quite, I mean, we've had more severe, but yeah, I think you know my comments on those by now. Right. Oh, that's not a good shot. Wasn't really sure what it was going to do off the downhill. Okay, we've put ourselves in some pain here. I think maybe that. Oh, it didn't leap anywhere near as far left as I thought it would do. Well, we really needed a birdie here after the last couple. See if we can hold apart. There we go. Okay, so, I mean, overall thoughts then. Oh, 1 second, we have to load up my scorecard once more, because I want to be able to look at it while I talk through. And I'll just load up the criteria that we go through. Playability and shot values. I think one of the major issues for me is going to be pro clubs, and it's just too long on the back nine for those guys. I get that we've got a par 37, but if you look at how you've accomplished that, it's not even by having we've got one par 3, that's the way we've accomplished it. It's not by having one more par 5, if that makes sense, which is more of a scoring opportunity, and the one par 3 you've got is 223, so really, CC, that's kind of a 3.5 hole. Not quite so much, but in general terms. You've also got a lot of long par 4s on the course, which I think is going to cause some issues with playability, particularly if you chuck any sort of wind in. 489, 531's really long. 487, 479, 505. I think with these two, 505 is probably in a CC contest the absolute maximum I'd go. This is just too long. And if you're doing that, then I mean really around the 480 yard-ish. I'm just going to check the thread and make sure. I don't think there's anything posted about yeah, Gold Master Tournament play, I'm assuming that's got to be what you're wanting judged on. So, what else? Yeah, Blue Pro / Master, fun relaxing round, reachable 4s. Okay, I get that. But bear in mind that we are publishing for a CC contest. The tournament play has to include pro clubs in your thinking. And it played fairly well with Masters. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it played as long as the yardage was, but there was enough there where we don't need to be that long. Otherwise, the playability side of things, I think you could benefit from reducing the number of tiers. That would substantially help you. And the severity of the tiers, giving us more room to land the ball short and work it onto the green. Particularly, I'm thinking of, there was this par 5 on the front 9, there was the one on the back there. We did give it a little bit, I think, on 18, but not so much. I think that would really help you. Technical execution. The greens kind of come under technical execution, the severity of those. I think the fairway shapes could be tightened up, bunker shapes could definitely be tightened up. Those are more aesthetics than technical issues, in fairness. The bunker sculpting was generally pretty good. There were a couple that didn't fit into the land as well as they could have done. We had the par 5 on the back where there was that unintentional blindness. I think sculpting can be cleaner. We're looking at fairway the mounds in rough in front of the tees, things like that. Yeah, coming back to the playability, I think the one thing you'll see as well is a lot of it became hit shot here, then hit shot to tier, hit shot here, then hit shot to here. The hole that I thought played the best was your 13th. I thought that was really enjoyable because I had genuine choices as to whether I go for it or whether I don't, and where I might want to miss. And I know I took out driver because everyone probably will do. Part of the reason I took out driver is because it was so different to everything else. So you're just like, well, okay, I'm definitely having a go for it. If you had a few more holes in the sub 400 range, this third one was a good hole. 8 was a nice hole. I think those are actually the ones that I remember the most. And I think if you had a few more around the 400 yard mark, that would have really helped. And if you're looking at the yardages, we are really missing anything upwards of 356. The next shortest is 452. That's a huge gap. And you've got all sorts of variants in the 420, 430. range that I think would really benefit. Aesthetics and environment. Yeah, you know my thoughts. The really bright coloured plants detracted. Those bushes for me detracted. I like that you're combining objects, but I think they didn't work for me. However, the natural areas of your tree lines, the water sides could have been a bit more sparse, but I really liked some of the planting that you did there. The natural areas under the trees where you didn't pepper it with global plants was really good. The framing on some of the holes, I'm thinking particularly there was a couple of the early par 3s were great, those 2 and 7. I will say I remember a lot more of the front nine than I do the back. And I'd want a few more of those back 9 holes to be really sticking with me. Rooting cohesion, flow, variety of holes. I've kind of touched on all of those. And then, yeah, I think there are a couple of major things that really... honestly, the biggest change, I think, would be for the greens. If you lose the tiers and start experimenting with a bit more forgiveness on the greens, that would make life so much better. And it would give you more ways to get the ball to the pin, rather than just either you hit this or you don't. I think that's what I keep coming back to. But yeah, like I say, all of those are my thoughts. There's a lot there that I really liked. And do get in contact if you got any. I mean, my score of +1 in large part is due to an atrocious shot and being unable to make a putt. So I don't think it plays quite that tough. But it would definitely be on the tougher end of the CC spectrum, particularly the distances. If it were on CC, we'd be seeing us using the blue tees without a shadow of doubt. But even then, there's not a whole lot of difference on this back 9. So I think that's going to cause... having this distance on a back 9 is going to cause issues on CC pretty much until we hit the white tees. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But yeah, I hope this helps. And as ever, just my opinion, do ask if you've got any questions, and good luck.